The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.
Say what's on my mind at any given time of day, cause I'm a renegade. Never been afraid to holler about anything.
Welcome into the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. Big show tonight.
Yeah, we got a huge show tonight. Most importantly, the Blackhawks are hanging on the edge here. They're down 3-0 to Nashville. They play tonight at 7. We'll bring you up to date on what happens, in the first period there as well.
Yeah, well, this is the time when the Blackhawks usually turn it on, when they're facing elimination. Except I wouldn't really say this team has what, the teams in the past have had. Like, this team looks old and slow, and they just don't have the fight.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising, especially when they ended up with the best record in the Western Conference. You kind of thought, that they're going to have a deep run. They're going to go to the Western Conference Finals, at least, or Stanley Cup Finals as well. But it's not looking good. Of course, this is, sort of the thing with hockey now. Usually in the playoffs in hockey, there's a lot of hot teams that come in and they just steamroll, and an 8 upsetting a 1 is not, very rare anymore.
Right, and really, I think hockey, you find the most pressure out of any of the sports, or it's the hardest one of the 4 major ones to get that 4th win in the series to finish off a team for good.
Right.
And especially with a team that has so much experience like the Blackhawks. I mean, they gave away the game on the other day, the game on Monday. Yeah,
they did. I know we were listening in the car, and they scored 2 goals on our drive home. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and the first goal, I don't know if you saw the replay or not. They were both fluky goals. On one of them, Philip Forsberg shot the puck over the net, a horrible shot.
Right.
It just missed hitting the netting to go out of play. The puck bounced back off the boards right in front of the net. Crawford had his back turned to the play because he was looking for the puck behind the net, and it was right in front of the net, and then they scored.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I thought it could have gone either way with goaltender interference because I forgot who it was. He bumped Crawford, so he was not in position and he was unable to make the save because he was bumped. And also, I believe he ran over his stick with his skate.
Yeah, I know on that second goal, I was watching the postgame show. I think it was Jamal Myers said.
He said that it was gold. He thought it was goaltender interference and was shocked that it.
And it kind of looked. He kept saying it was intentionally unintentional, or whatever you call it. So he, was kind of unintentionally hit him, but was intentionally there in the way, so Crawford couldn't see.
Right, and I mean that call could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
Really, kind of probably that's just kind of depending on which team you're rooting for in that series.
Right.
I mean that could have gone either way. It wasn't like a clear bump or anything. It was enough though that it did probably affect his ability to make that save. He was bumped, and then his stick was hit. And then in the overtime period, I mean Crawford was unbelievable. We got home in time from the Cub game to see the majority of the overtime period, and he looked so good. He was really the only one that looked good from when I was watching. He made some incredible saves, and then there's a bad turnover by Marian Hossa, and then Fiala scored.
Yeah,
that's really what it came down to. I mean, they didn't have the puck much in overtime. It seemed like it was always in their zone.
Well, that's the thing. It seems like in overtime they were definitely being outplayed. And I think they were just tired. They were fatigued. And Nashville's a little younger team, and they were able to take control. They scored those 2 late goals. They got lucky, but they scored those 2 goals. And then in the overtime, they just kind of outplayed them.
They did, and I mean, it's the wrong time to get tired. I mean, the whole series, they've looked slow, they've looked tired, they've looked sloppy. They've looked old. They look like they're not even functioning as a unit. I mean, even that deadly Panarin and Anisimov-Kane line hasn't done much. I mean, Kane scored the power play goal, and I mean, Anisimov has been the only one from what I've seen that has actually like gone in front of the net trying to screen Pekka Rinne, because otherwise, whenever Anisimov hasn't been on the ice, Rinne's been able to see everything because no one's standing in front of him trying to screen him.
Yeah, they need to shake things up a little bit.
They do, and
as far as how the lines are concerned.
The offensive chances have just like been poor. They don't really have much in the middle of the ice. They're shooting from the outside, bad angles, tough angle shots, and they just haven't been able to do much. And one thing that you said before the playoffs started that I didn't really think of it very much was, they've lost, 5 in a row going into the playoffs.
I think it was 4 or 5 in a row.
4 or 5 in a row they lost. I mean, I didn't think much of it, except, that's a great point. They had no momentum going in.
Yeah.
They lost 4 or 5 in a row, and then look what happened. They literally had no momentum at any point in this series, maybe a little after Kane scored that second goal, except it was taken away in that third period.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate that happened, but of course, the Minnesota Wild won last night to keep their season alive, and I think the Hawks are going to do the same thing. I think we both think that they'll win tonight. Somehow, some way, they'll find a way, and then they should be able to win at home. If they don't, then it's really going to be a disappointment.
Can you imagine they get shut out 3 times at home in this series?
Yeah,
there's been a lot of teams getting shut out at home. I mean, it's not just the Blackhawks.
Right.
Cam Talbot shut out the Sharks twice. One was on the road and one was at San Jose,
right,
and one was at Edmonton.
And Anaheim just advanced last night.
Yeah, they
swept
as well. Calgary.
Right. So
I thought Calgary would be able to. Is it Calgary that they're playing?
Yeah.
That they played?
Yep. I watched the end of that game.
Boston's playing Ottawa. I was getting the two mixed up. Yeah, I mean, Anaheim looked really good in that series.
Yeah, they maybe will finally break through and get to the Stanley Cup. I know they always lose in the first, second, or third rounds. They never seem to make it. Usually the Hawks beat them out at some point, or San Jose or somebody else like that. But I don't know. I think if the Hawks win tonight, it's definitely going to go 6. I don't know if they can win in Nashville again in Game 6 because that'll be tough. But they have to win tonight, obviously, and then I think they'll also win Game 5.
I mean, they're trying to avoid being swept in the playoffs for the first time since 1993.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean that's crazy.
There's really, if this was a home game, you'd feel a little better because in 2010, 2011, when they went down 3-0, they had Game 4 at home, and then they beat Vancouver 7-2.
Yeah,
and then they literally had all the momentum from then on out, because then in Game 6 in Vancouver, they won 5-0 on a Crawford shutout. Game 6 went back to the United Center, and they won in overtime, and then Game 7, anything can happen, and they were literally just one bad bounce of the puck away from advancing in overtime. So, it's going to be tough because Game 5 or Game 4 is in Nashville, and I really feel like if you go down 3-0, you have a little more. I think you have a better chance if you have Game 4 at home, because you win that game, then you have some momentum going into Game 5 on the road, and then if you take that, Game 6 is at home. Yeah. Which you'd obviously think you'd be able to win, and then Game 7 just go from there. We'll see what happens. Here the Hawks got to win on the road.
Yeah,
and then
and I really think either Kane or Taves has to score, maybe even twice. Either
I think somebody needs to score. It doesn't matter who.
Yeah.
Someone needs to score.
Oh, I know, but I think it would really put the pressure on if the stars are starting to come out, if Hossa gets a goal, if Taves gets a goal.
They need to score early.
Like
they need to score early because they didn't do that in Game 3. They put 2 up in the second period. It was scoreless heading to the second. And Crawford will come out. He'll have a good game. He's probably been the best in this series. Hossa has played really well, except he was the one that had that awful turnover that led to the game winner.
Yeah, we can't really fault Corey Crawford here. Maybe the game you were at, but other than that,
that was the play in front of him and some unfortunate bounces. I could dissect that game all night about what was wrong with that team, because they're on the first goal. I forgot who it was, blasted it from the blue line. Someone on the Hawks blocked it. The puck went back to the guy, and then he shot it again and scored. That's a bad luck bounce right there. The third goal. The puck was literally just sitting in front of the crease, and the Hawks had some guys that were there that didn't bother to swipe it away, so then a guy in Nashville just flew in and scored. And then they were allowing power play goals and then an odd man rush goal. Everything that could have gone wrong in Game 2 went wrong.
Yeah, I do think this Game 4 coming up. It's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't see I think, but now if Nashville comes out and scores like 2 goals right away, do you think they would pull Crawford and put in Darling, or do you just to shake it up and maybe change the scenery?
No.
Or do you think they'll stick with Crawford?
I mean, if they go up 2-0, it's not because of Crawford. It's because nobody knows how to score.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not saying it's necessarily because of Crawford.
I can't see it happening just because you've already won 2 cups with Crawford.
Yeah.
And I mean, and really, it's just like, maybe if they were losing these games like 5-4, like if they lost Game 1, like 4-0, and Game 2 they lost like 5-1, or I mean Game 2 they lost 5-0. Or Game 3, instead of losing 3-2 in overtime, they lost like 5-2. Then maybe you could consider it. It's just like, they lost 1-0 in Game 1. They lost 5-0 in Game 2. At least 3 of those goals were not Crawford's fault. There was nothing he could do. Maybe even 4 of them. And then in Game 3, he stood on his head. He made 46 saves.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Joe Quenneville said it best. Really, the pressure's on Nashville to finish him off. Because, the Hawk, this whole, dynasty or this big run of success has really been shaped up by teams that have gone up in the series and then failed to finish them off.
Yeah.
We remember there's Detroit back in 2013. They went up Detroit was up 3-1. The Hawks came back, won the series. Even 2010, when they were down 3-0 to the Canucks, they forced a Game 7. Unfortunately, they didn't win. 2014, they were down 3-1 to the Kings, came back and forced Game 7, lost in overtime. And then last year, they went down 3-1 against the Blues, forced a Game 7.
Yep.
So, I mean, they've shown that they can come back, and these are the kind of situations that they come back in. And if they can get it to Game 6, I forgot I don't remember how many wins they have in Game 6.
I think they're 8-0 under Joe Quenneville.
No, they have 1 loss in a Game 6 under Quenneville. That's it. I think it might be like 12-1 or something.
Okay, I think it was 8-0 on the road is what it ended up being.
Yeah, because the 1 loss was at home against Arizona. They lost that game 4-0. That was the series. Yeah, it's like absurd. Like if it gets to Game 6, I mean, you got to win Games 4 and 5 first. So if it gets to Game 6, you feel that's about as much of a lock of a win as any game could be. Do I think that they'll be able to do it? Not with the way they've been looking. Now if they play old, slow, sloppy, and just like and play like they don't have the fight to win, because Nashville has been playing like they want it. They know they want it. They feel like their time is now. And they've been knocked out twice in the first round by the Blackhawks.
So they're kind of due.
Yeah, know so they don't want to lose again to them.
Right. We're going to take a break right now. We'll come back. We'll probably continue this Hawks conversation for a little bit. We'll also be talking about the Bulls. Hey, they're up 2-0. I don't know if anyone thought that was going to happen, but here they are, and they play tomorrow night at the United Center. So the Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.